Begin with a truly inspiring guest, Dr. Maria Rodriguez, a woman who has risen above incredible odds to become a beacon of empowerment for so many. Now, Dr. Rodriguez's story begins with a difficult childhood where after her parents' divorce, she was sent away to the Dominican Republic and faced with abandonment, emotional scars, and a daunting task of fending for herself. Maria didn't just survive, she found a way to thrive. And through years of self-discovery, resilience, and determination, she went on to found the Care Counseling Center, helping others rise above their own struggles. And now Dr. Rodriguez will share her remarkable journey and the life-changing lessons she's learned about empowerment, persistence, and turning life's most challenging moments into stepping stones for success.
Hi, I'm Dr. Maria Rodriguez, and this is my story of success redefined. What I do for a living is counseling. I own 3 counseling centers, and what inspired me to start these counseling centers were my experiences as a child. My childhood journey began when I was 2 years old. It was filled with mental health issues and family conflict. When I was 2, my parents divorced, like 50% of the families in the United States. But the difference, or what happened here in my family, was that one day we were visiting with my father, and he decided, unbeknownst to my mom, that he was going to ship us, my brother and I, to the Dominican Republic. So he left us there. My grandmother was there maybe for 2-3 years, taking care of us. But then she left, and we were left with different babysitters, right? So there was this big disconnection with hardly any love. My father, when he did call or interacted with us, he would tell us constantly that my mom didn't love us, and that she left to be with another family, to be with another man. Growing up with all these insecurities and lack of love and self-worth, I began to feel bad, depressed, anxiety, also suicidal thoughts. At 7 years old, can you imagine having suicidal thoughts? So fast forward to today, I decided to create 3 counseling centers in which now I dedicate myself to provide a safe space for people who are experiencing things that are similar to my experience. Self-love is the foundation to self-healing. So let me give you an example. As a Dominican woman, or growing up in a Dominican culture, I learned very early in life that in order to be accepted, in order to be loved, I had to self-sacrifice myself and give to others instead of giving to myself. Growing up, or as I became older, I always focused on giving back to everyone and forgot about myself. So one example is birthdays, for example. When I had a boyfriend, when I had a partner, I specifically planned their birthdays for months. Dedicated, looked for little things and big things, made parties, but then I started to notice that no one did that for me, right? So I sat down and wondered, wait a minute, I'm giving so much to everyone else and no one is doing that for me. Well, what about me? So at that moment, I decided, you know what? I need to also love me and put myself first. So that point there, I then began my journey to loving myself and self-discovery. How I help my clients. So I always like to remind them that heartbreak can bring you or bring something special. I have had clients that come in and are heartbroken. I'm thinking about this one specific person who came into the office and said, I was talking to this gentleman for a couple of weeks and he just ghosted me. Very successful woman, and she says, I don't know, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? So in looking at her life, we had to look back as opposed to focusing on what he did, right? Because we don't have control over what people do. We have control over what we do, how we feel, and what we think. In self-discovery, we looked back at her history. What is it about you, or what was it about your situation that is bringing this up? So we figure out that maybe childhood trauma was what was making her feel insecure, as opposed to this person ghosting her. So then we focused on self-awareness and what can we do with this heartbreak? How can we make yourself better? How can you grow from here? And that is one of the focuses, changing your mindset and growing from your heartbreak. Small goals win big victories, right? We can't look at a big goal because we will feel overwhelmed when we look at the big picture. So we have to break that down. So when a client comes in and says, I want to be better. Okay. So tell me what that looks like. What does better look like? What does it feel like, right? So they'll say, well, I was better when I was around people and I was wearing heels and I was going out. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So maybe a small goal would be that you start wearing heels. Maybe if it's not 5 days, maybe you can wear it 2 days in a week, and that will start building up your self-confidence. So maybe, especially after the pandemic, people were afraid to now socialize again, right? So now what can we do for you to socialize again, for example? So can we go out once a month as opposed to every day? Or can you start reaching out to your friends that were there in the past? So where can we start? And from the small goals so that we can reach the bigger goals, which is to feel better. Becoming a CEO of your own life and how to manage that in other people, or the advice that I would give is take responsibility, take control of over your life, own your journey and what you have for your future. Stop blaming others. Sometimes people ask me, and I have asked other people as well. I find it very common, especially with my mom, for example. She'll say, oh, should I choose this or this? And then if you say that one, then you're wrong. So taking control and taking accountability over what you decide to do. One of the things that I do believe in is that we have to be our own best friends. We need to stop being our worst enemies and become our own best friends. So when we are working with shame, when we are working with, I made mistakes and I feel bad about myself, the best question that I like to ask my clients, and I do ask myself too, because I'm not exempt from negative self-talk. Negative self-talk is something that comes automatically because our brain is wired to think negative, right? So we kind of have to be aware and point this out to ourselves. So the best question that I like to ask is, would you say this to your best friend? Would you put down your best friend, or would you help them build themselves? I encourage people to define success, and here is how you do it. First, you build small steps. Self-forgiveness, self-love, putting yourself and your thoughts first, and then everything else will come into place. So instead of comparing yourself to others and what journey they have gone through or what they have succeeded in life, you have to focus on what you have and what you can succeed. One example that I always talk about is, because it is very common, I have younger generation, 20, 25-year-olds who constantly compare themselves to their friends, right? Well, they've graduated and I've graduated, but they're working in the career that they want and I haven't worked, or I'm not working in the career that I want. So we look at what are the resources that you have, because at the end of the day, you don't know what they had or the help that they have had to get to that place. So focus on what you have at the moment and what you want to build for your future instead of comparing yourself to others. To me, success is feeling happy and helping other people. And I do believe that success to everyone is different. I was excited to do based on the bestseller because I'm sharing with the world how wonderful this book is.
Dr. Rodriguez's story reminds us all that no matter where we start, we hold the power to shape our own destiny. And by embracing resilience, self-awareness, and a belief in our ability to overcome, we can rise above even the toughest circumstances. She turned her pain into purpose, and her wisdom continues to guide others on their path to personal fulfillment.